Before we start this video, I have a few things to clarify. Firstly, this video is not as visually focused as my other deep dives and documentaries, because I want to keep this video as more of an off-the-cuff look at the content in question. While I might be a little bit late to the party on this, I still thought it would be a good topic to make a video about because in a lot of ways, this is a very interesting YouTuber apology. So, now that we have got that out the way, we can begin. EDP 445, out of pretty much nowhere, has decided to release an apology video, attempting to repent for his actions over 2 years ago. While I don't exactly think I have to give any background for the situation that led to this apology video, as it was the biggest story on the web at the time, in the briefest terms possible, EDP was captured in a YouTuber pedo sting after interacting with an underage decoy and then subsequently trying to meet them. Since then, his life has justifiably been sent into disrepute as his online career imploded within the course of a few months. What makes this video initially so strange is the rapid change in EDP's demeanour, where he previously appeared completely remorseless for his actions and was more than happy to make references to the situation online. In this apology video, he seems genuinely somber and remorseful. The strangeness of the whole thing could simply be due to the odd nature of the YouTube apologies we've received recently. I have absolutely no doubt that you all know about the Colleen apology controversy that still persists, and while more cynical of you out there might think EDP strategically chose to release an apology now when most of the heat is on someone else, I'm not sure his tactical acumen is really that high. Something I've noticed online is how people tend to see EDP as this cold and calculating villain, and I've never really understood this thought process. Sure, he is callous, but definitely not calculated. If he genuinely was this Machiavellian evil schemer, then he probably would have never gotten caught in the first place, and even if he had have managed to get himself bagged, he definitely wouldn't have then used what little online presence he'd had left to effectively brag about being a free man, despite committing crimes that were caught on camera. You may have noticed that I haven't really talked about the video itself, and that's because honestly, not really all that different from any other YouTube apology. Minus the crocodile tears and the ukulele songs, he spends most of the runtime vaguely hinting at what he did wrong and how he wants a second chance at redemption, never fully choosing to apologize for his misdeeds but getting just within the general parameters of an apology. What I find the most interesting about this whole thing is that on its own, this apology video is almost completely superfluous. The fact is, while this corporate-style apology video works for someone like Logan Paul, EDP's actions over the course of the last few years instantly paint him in a bad light, and implies that not only does he have no remorse for what he did, but was actively willing to try and capitalize on the air quote, good publicity. The problem here isn't that it's too little too late, but quite the opposite. While I'm more willing to admit that EDP deserves his failure, and everything that's happened to him, obviously, I'll also give it to him that he was in a lose-lose situation from the start as soon as this story broke. In this kind of situation, no real outcome is good, so the next logical step is to try and mitigate the shitstorm as much as possible, to try and reduce the liability to your career and personal life. In some cases, trying to get in front of the issue can be beneficial, but as we already established, this can only get you so far. If EDP was solely focused on the business aspects of this situation, making an apology video at the height of the issue would have been a no-brainer. EDP apologizing for his actions at the point where the internet's searing hatred for him was at its hottest and whitest would have been absolutely fucking megalodonic. But on the other hand, waiting it out, letting the issue cool off before re-emerging with an apology also has its benefits. The issue here with this approach is easily seen when you look at the sheer amount of content made about this situation after it broke. Hundreds of videos have been made detailing the situation and the ongoing story as new events emerge, instantly leaving him on the back foot. The problem is that the story has already been so well established that most internet users can tell it off the top of their head. Nothing EDP says in an apology video produced this long after the topic will mitigate the fact that what he did is effectively what he's going to be associated with for the rest of his life. So at the end of the day, what does this video really mean for EDP and his career? I've seen people say that they believe he was instructed to do this video by his lawyers or his legal advisor, but I don't really believe that. If I was EDP's lawyer, it would be my main prerogative to keep him as far away from the internet and the public eye as possible. And if this video was made to try and throw around the idea of a return to the internet for EDP, then as a lawyer, it's not my job to facilitate that. And after what's happened, I would be a really shit lawyer if I thought that that was a good idea. When looking at things from that perspective, I think EDP genuinely did do this by his own choice. Whether you believe that that was a good choice or not is up to you, but that's what I think. In the grand scheme of things though, this really changes nothing. EDP's career is ostensibly fucked, and while I don't necessarily have anything against the idea of second chances in most cases, it really hinges on the person and the crime. And with his actions not only during but after the crime he committed, I can't say I'm willing to give him a second chance. And neither does the internet.